Etiano, and welcome to this edition of the Gambia Explorer. We're finally ready to press on with our mission to the Wassu stone circles. The motorcycles are loaded up, we've got one stop to make to fuel up, and then we're on our way for the first 100-kilometre leg. We've met here today at the Sandele Eco Lodge, which is just across the road from the snake farm where I've been staying to get ready for this mission. Well, I'm not entirely sure if that's the best omen. We are, I don't know, 25 minutes into our journey and just made the first scheduled stop so that Energizer could refresh the oil on his machine and get a wing mirror stuck back on. And as you can see, this little engine is battling on. We've got a very long way to cover, but we are taking the back routes rather than the Trans-Gambian highway, as I've mentioned before, so hopefully it'll go a little easier on her engine. Very early days, and I've got a feeling this will not be the only mechanic stop that we make for this machine and possibly even mine. West Africa is tough on all vehicles. Okay, so we've now been riding for about an hour. I guess it took us a couple of hours to get out of Brikama, fueling the vehicles, oil change for both of the motorcycles. So it's a little bit slower than I anticipated leaving, but nevertheless we are now on our way. Energizer is sticking to the high road on the tarmac, as we've had a few problems with this machine this morning, but she seems to be running okay now, fingers crossed. I, however, where possible, am jumping on these off-road tracks just basically to keep my mind entertained and have some fun. We just finished about a 3-hour ride and we're now about half an hour from our destination. Pretty exhausted, I gotta say. However, we found a very nice location next to a river whose name I cannot pronounce, so I will put it at the bottom of the screen. We've just had a bowl of rice at a local restaurant and a tin cup of water. Most welcome, I have to say. One huge notable success as far as I'm concerned, that is the solar panel on the front of the bike has been extremely useful. You can see this cord leads up to a pouch I'm wearing, and I've managed to charge this camera very successfully, and indeed now I'm charging my phone. One notable failure is that I was carrying 3 litres of drinking water, 1.5 litres per bottle, and when I disappeared off onto a dirt track, one of those bottles sadly vanished. So I've managed to obtain another from a local shop, and I will endeavour to secure it somewhat more efficiently this time around. So nearly at our destination, where we've got to find somewhere to set up camp, and so I'll be back shortly. Hello and good morning. Well, at least it's morning here, approximately 10 a.m. We didn't camp last night. We checked out the village of Noma, had a good hunt around there, but then decided to press on up to the town of Soma, which is a really good waypoint. Now, yesterday we didn't take the bush routes really as I had intended, although the dirt tracks by the side of the Trans-Gambian highway were a lot of fun. So today we're going to make a much bigger effort and really try and go and hunt out these bush routes on our way up to Georgetown. This is where I stayed last night. You guys want to be on camera? Hey guys. And actually it was really very nice and very cost effective being here. So we're going to press on to Georgetown, take some pics, take some video and such, and be uploading very soon. Now, on our arrival in Soma last night, neither Energizer or I had our driving licenses in order. We had all the other documents sorted for the bikes, but both of us had made a bit of a blunder as far as our licenses were concerned. So we were delayed for about 30 minutes by a very pleasant police officer who gave us a good ticking off. However, he did organise for the pair of us temporary driving licenses. So thank you very much indeed to the Gambia police force. Well, I've just had a bit of a spill, finally got my way, and we got ourselves off-road and just went straight into the sand. I have to say, my sand riding has got a lot of improvement, and I just took a rather unfortunate spill, got rather lucky. My foot got trapped underneath the machine, marginally painful, but I managed to wiggle it out, and the bike is very heavy, so I was really struggling to lift it. However, I smelt fuel and it was trickling out of the very full tank, so I found some extra strength and got my butt in gear and uprighted the machine. Energizer, my guide, has just turned round. He's up there somewhere, so I'm gonna get myself together, get back on the bike and carry on. This time being a little bit more cautious, especially on the sand. I love riding off-road, but it is challenging. And as I said, I'm not yet that proficient, certainly on the softer stuff. I've just learned a real lesson in humility. Yesterday I mentioned that in our own small way we would be following Mungo Parks, but with better equipment. Now we couldn't quite find our way, so we just come across two lads on a horse, and we've just followed them. They were galloping ahead down a trail, up, down, through sand, over rock, and I was attempting to keep up with them on the motorcycle, but these guys were great riders and the horse was very fit, so I'm afraid that they won hands down. The motorcycles and indeed my ability certainly was no match for them. However, look at where we have ended up. I'm not entirely sure where this is. I know that we've travelled a short distance further east to our destination, but here we are. What amazing scenery. I'm guessing in rainy season then this will all be marshland and flooded, but right now it's very dry, very arid, with some amazing trees in the background. Here's Energizer. We're sitting here or standing here absolutely baking. Great weather, very hot. Definitely don't want to run out of water out here, that's for sure, or have any significant breakdowns. But as I said, the scenery here is absolutely outstanding, and thanks for the horse and the boys for getting us here. And true to form, we have just had our second spill. This time it's Energizer that's gone down. I witnessed it, flipped him over the front, but fortunately he regained his balance. He's all right, the machine's on his side, full of fuel no doubt, so we better get this lifted up. I'm going to just try and put my bike down here, go and assist. I have to say, Energizer, you're wearing a new helmet, or at least a second-hand new helmet, just as well, I have to say. So we're all kitted out, pleased we are indeed. Let's get these uprighted. Not sure if it's going to balance on there or not. It's not going to balance on there, so I'll do it. Okay, right, let's get this righted. Not quite as heavy as my bike, fortunately, so that was a bit of an easy one. Plus, of course, I wasn't doing it on my own. But there we are. Have to say, out here, as you can see, it is literally just us. So, I can't see a single individual in the distance over there on horseback. And there is someone over there with some cattle, so we're not entirely alone. But nevertheless, if something rather more serious occurred, you've got to just accept the fact that no one's going to come quickly. So caution and care at all times. We've just arrived at a little village after our ride through the bush, somewhat exhilarating. We're going to take some time out here. The locals sitting underneath this tree have kindly invited us to share some attire with them, which is a very strong green tea, usually stacked with sugar. Taking the opportunity to dry my shirt here as it was absolutely sodden. I have to say, I'm really lamenting the fact that I don't have a GoPro camera. I left it in the UK because mounted on the handlebars it would have made some great footage today, particularly when we were following those lads on the horse. So if anyone's out there, the Gambia Tourist Board for instance, or any other organisation within the Gambia or West Africa who might be able to assist us in the future with some slightly better video equipment, then please seek us out. We'll really put it to good use. We had a really wonderful stay here yesterday evening, very well looked after. We stayed up quite late, admittedly, listening to the sounds of the nature. We wandered down to the river and caught the eyes of a crocodile reflecting back in the torchlight. This morning there's been monkeys swanning around whilst we've been having breakfast and indeed consuming copious amounts of coffee. But now it's time for us to leave, head into Georgetown, cross the river and go and seek out the stone man and go and seek out the stone circles.